Hey everyone, I'm Julia and welcome back to Crocoblog channel. In our previous video, we've talked about custom post type and created a post in Gutenberg. In today's tutorial, to show you the full power of JetEngine, I'd like to look closer at one key feature of custom post type, custom metafields. Together we will add the custom metafield, then create a listing template to display everything in a listing grid. If you are new to our channel, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell to receive notifications. And now, let's get started. First of all, let's talk about what custom field is. Custom fields, also referred to as post meta, is a feature in WordPress which allows users to add additional information when creating a post. Custom fields can be added to any information related to the post, page, or any content type. If we open Post Editing page, there will be the left and main part, the content you're adding using the post editor. And on the right side, you'll find the information about the content like author, date, categories, tags, that is added automatically by WordPress whenever you create a new post or page. This type of information is called metadata. Using custom fields, you can create your own metadata. Except for the posts, custom fields can be added to the products and taxonomies, and metadata doesn't just stay there. It allows you to query and filter the content, customize the visibility of every metafield using conditional logic, and much more. As for the post, this option can be enabled if you click on the Options, Preferences, Panels, Custom Fields. However, this method is very time-consuming and requires coding skills because you will need to add it to your WordPress theme files. Once you add the custom field, you will have to select it and enter its value each time you write a post, which is absolutely inconvenient, especially if there are multiple users writing on the website. So, without this option, default WordPress post doesn't allow you to add anything except for the title, description, and featured image. Let's say I have a vacation rental website. It will be impossible to provide the visitors of my website with a number of rooms, bathrooms, facilities, or check-in time using WordPress posts. However, everything is possible with JetEngine custom post types and custom metafields. So, custom metafields display additional information about your custom or default post, and that metadata isn't visible for the visitors of the website. You can display it with the help of dynamic widgets. However, the information you type into the metafields can be used in various places and not only once. Now, let's open a custom post type. For that, go to JetEngine Post Types. I already created a custom post type houses, and if you need any help with creating a CPT, just follow our detailed video tutorial. Metafields can be found right under the Advanced settings. Click this New Metafield button, and let's take a look at the first three options here. Label. Type in the title of the field here. This is how it will be shown to you and other users. Name ID. This value is generated automatically according to the text you put into the label bar. If you want to change it, keep in mind that ID shouldn't include spaces and make sure it consists only of the letters and numbers. It is required so the metafields are stored in the database without any problems. The autofill will also add a random number to the name if it's not unique. The fields with similar IDs could confuse you and cause some trouble if you'd like to use them somewhere else. That's why the autofill prevents the usage of similar IDs. Object type. Here you can choose the type of the object. The field option means that you will be able to add values there. Tab, accordion, and endpoint will create a specific layout in the posts editing area, which makes the process of filling the posts with content easier. A bit later in this tutorial, I will demonstrate how to group the metafields easily. Now, under the field type, select the type of the custom metafield. Here we have 18 metafields. Let's go over each of them. Text. If you want to add an extra field with custom text to the post type, This type perfectly meets your requirements. You can add additional information about posts using this field. Also, you can specify the available number of characters in the field. Date. Provide information about the date of the events, meetings, conferences with the help of this meta field. You can also save the date as a timestamp. This meta field type will be stored in the database, allowing you to query and filter posts by it. Time. This is an appropriate type for adding a time marker for posts. Add the particular time of events, meetings, and conferences in this meta field. Date time. This custom meta field allows picking date and time in the same place in a convenient way. Text area. You can use this type for adding a textual area to the post with the arrangement of the text line by line. Moreover, you can set the character limit for this field value. WYSIWYG. Selecting this type, you will add a basic editor in the custom field for adding content with a certain layout and customizing its appearance directly in the WordPress dashboard. Switcher. You can add a toggle as a custom field to posts, products, events, etc., which allows you to turn on and off the appropriate option in the meta field block. Checkbox. This type provides an opportunity to add checkboxes with different options for choosing to default and custom posts. Icon picker. Create a meta box with an icon picker where you will be able to pick an appropriate icon for the post. Media. This type will assist in adding media files, images in particular, to the posts. Gallery. With the help of this meta field type, you will be able to add multiple images to the posts and products in a gallery form. Radio. A radio type is perfect for adding radio options for choosing by editing, default, and custom posts. Repeater. This type will help add the repeating content block for every post, product, event, etc., which you will be able to fill with value in the WordPress dashboard. Select. Use this content type to add a drop-down selector for the post. In case you enable Allow to select multiple values options, you will be able to select several options at once. This value can be also shown using the proper callback for the dynamic field. Number. If you need a field that is filled with numbers only, this will be a perfect one. Color picker. You will add a color picker tool for the post, choosing this type of a meta field. Post. And this type will allow setting and displaying related posts from the WordPress dashboard. To do that, you need to use related posts list callback in the dynamic field widget added to a listing. And the last one, HTML. You can add some custom HTML code to your meta fields with this type if you need it. It will be useful for the unique features or types of data not presented in the list. It won't be visible in the WordPress dashboard, only in the meta fields editing page. By the way, two more additional options will appear. Allow custom for checkbox and radio meta field types, and get options from the glossary for checkbox, radio, and select types. Allow custom. This option allows adding custom values to those fields, saving them to a database of the current post, but without saving it to the default values list. Allow custom options lets adding different custom values to different posts. That means that you can create different custom values for each post. However, if you want those custom values to be applied to all the posts in the custom post type, use the Save Custom option. Therefore, all your posts will contain this new value of the checkbox field. The radio type of meta field is set up similar to the checkbox one. Get options from the glossary. If you turn this toggle on, it will allow you to add the options from the glossaries to the list. You will be able to specify a certain glossary. You can find more details about this feature in the glossaries functionality overview. Now, other parameters of the meta fields. And there are description and field width lines where you can add necessary additional text for the meta field and set the meta field width. You can also specify the character limit and determine the default value for the current field. Moreover, it is possible to enable the is required option to make the field required. Also keep in mind that the default value option is available only for textual field types. And the last one here, conditional logic, gives you an opportunity to make fields visible only if some conditions are met. More details about how this feature works you can find in the conditional logic tutorial. As I am using our vacation rental website template Belrento, I'm gonna add meta fields for the houses CPT that I created in the previous tutorial. Basically, it's a booking website, so there will be the number of rooms, beds, check-in time, and other information of the advertised houses. Let's start with the rooms. I will fill in the label and name ID field, then object type field, and field type text. Width field stays the same as well as the rest of the options. Once it's done, just hit the new meta field button again. For this one, I'm simply repeating the same steps. Now for the address meta field, I will select a different field type text area for multiple line input. You can also add gallery meta field if you want to demonstrate in detail a room, house, or let's say a car if it's a car rental website, and of course set gallery field type for it. Time field type can be used for the check-in and check-out time. Also, since I have properties on my website, it would be nice to add information considering different facilities. The problem is the number of facilities is quite big and I don't want to spend too much time filling this type of information manually. Checkbox field type is a lifesaver in this situation. Once it's selected, a new field option button will appear. Nothing hard here, you just fill the option value and option label. It does take some time to add options for the checkbox, however it significantly saves time and energy when adding posts and filling the meta fields with info. Okay, I think it's enough. And the last step here, I will enable Save as Array. If you don't remember, we need to use this option if this meta value will be added from front-end form. Alright, so we've added some meta fields. You can stick to these ones or dive deeper and go through other field types. Once you're done, click this Update Post Type button on the right. Now you're free to display the content you've added into the custom meta fields using, for example, Gutenberg. Unlike the classic editor, Gutenberg allows you to play with the blocks and customize the layout easily, which is absolutely perfect, especially for beginners. But first of all, we need to fill in the meta fields with information. For that, open your CPT and edit the post. Scroll down a bit to find meta fields on the post page. As you can see, there are the meta fields that I just added. Here are a couple of tricks before we start filling them in. I set everything to 100%, but some fields like time, beds, or room do not require a full field width. To save some space, especially if you have a lot of different meta fields, just set the width of the needed fields to a certain percent. Now, as for the grouping the meta fields in a certain way, I used the field object type for this layout. And what if there are a lot of meta fields and I don't want to scroll all the way down to get to some meta field? Let's try tab object type. Keep in mind that whenever you use this type, you need to create one more meta field. Let me show why it is needed. Here is my rooms meta field. If I set it to tab, it will turn this meta field into a tab with the rest of the meta fields inside it. It makes it impossible to fill rooms meta field with any content. So the best option is to create an empty meta field that you won't be using. For example, I can create a meta field main information, make it a tab, and then create one more meta field extra, and move some of the meta fields to it. As you can see, now everything is comfortably grouped into 2 tabs. Similar to the tab, apply the same steps with the accordion object type to receive this result. Fill in the meta fields with the content depending on what type of website you have. Don't forget to set a featured image, and once it's done, update the post. To display the metadata, we need to create a page, but let's not do the simple static one. How about displaying the content dynamically? As dynamic blocks don't work with the default WordPress pages, we have to create a listing item. Before we move on to the next step, let me quickly explain why a listing item is needed. At the end, I want to display the post in a grid. A listing grid requires a template or an individual item to be created. We will create it just once, and what listing grid does, it just replicates the data from each post. But just so you know, the functionality of the listing item is way broader, and in our next tutorials, we will dive deep into this topic, so stay tuned. Let's go to JetEngine Listings. Add a new one. Listing source will be posts, and in the post type, select your custom post type where you added the post meta field. Set a name, and select Gutenberg blocks as a listing view. As you know, Gutenberg works with blocks only. To add them, simply click on either Add Block button right here or this button on top. What's great about JetEngine is that, except for the default Gutenberg blocks, you'll get JetEngine blocks after installing the plugin. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see 9 blocks that have different icons. In particular, these 6 allow you to work with the metadata. As for my layout, there will be an image first, then title, and a bit of extra data and address. First of all, let's add dynamic image block. Under the general, select Post Thumbnail as a source. You can also change the size of the image if needed, and it's pretty much it. For the title, I will apply dynamic field block. Set source to post term user object data, and in the post object, select title. Now, if you remember, I added some house features like the number of beds, guests, etc. The best way to present this type of information is columns. I'm gonna add dynamic field again. However, this time I will set metadata as a source. And once you click on the meta key, you'll see your CPT, in my case it's houses, and the whole list of your meta fields. I will select rooms for the first column, and what you can also add is an icon. So despite the fact that I added an icon, it's still unclear if it means 2 beds or 2 people. If you have the same situation, scroll down to Customize Field Output and enable it. In the field format box, type in the needed information. Now it says 2 rooms. As for the rest of the columns, I will repeat the same steps, changing only the meta key. The last block will be an address. Don't think that we're done here. As you noticed, I didn't style anything because Gutenberg editor doesn't have its own styling options. However, Crocoblock got you covered on this one. The only thing that you need is JetStyleManager plugin. Let me activate it and show how much difference it makes. At the first glance, nothing really changed. But JetStyleManager adds a block style button to the upper right corner of the editing window once you select a block. And now we can style the text, change its color, size, set a different font, and there are also tons of other options. Style the rest of the blocks according to your needs, and once it's done, click Publish. So we've created a template for an individual listing item inside our listing. Now we need to create a listing grid. Open the page where you want to show a listing or create a new one. Search for a listing grid block and add it. Under the General, select the listing item template that you just created. You can adjust the number of columns here, set the post number, enable masonry grid, equal columns height, and set query parameters if needed. JetStyleManager also allows you to add horizontal and vertical gaps between the columns. Once you're satisfied with the result, publish the page. And here is our listing grid with the metadata pulled dynamically with the help of a JetEngine dynamic blocks. Personally, I didn't expect that adding custom metafields and then creating a listing in Gutenberg can be that simple. But what is CrocoBlock's main goal? Right, to make your life easy. Stay tuned as more cool tutorials are coming soon. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.